everyone, and welcome back to TAL, or also known as Teach As We Learn. Today I'm going to be teaching you about systems of equations. So you'll probably see that there are two videos I've posted, with one saying substitution and the other with another name. There are basically two ways to solve systems of equations. So this is the first one, substitution, and I'll teach you the other method in a later video. But let's begin with substitution. But before we just jump in, let's actually talk what systems of equations actually are. Systems of equations are basically like two equations, solving for two equations. So like this, and then one could be like that. So basically just finding the x and y value for two equations, as both equations will have the same x value and both equations will have the same y value. So our goal is to literally find these values. So as you can see, I have a list of these rules, which you can pause the video and see if you want to, but I would recommend that you just sort of see an example and then you'll get a flow of it normally. So let's see an example. So here I have two equations. One thing that we should notice is this is in standard form, a concept which we covered in one of my previous videos. And this is in slope-intercept form. And the thing with substitution is that you need it to be in standard form and the other one in slope-intercept form. So let's say that you were given two equations, both in standard form, then you'd quickly convert it into slope-intercept form, which is again a previous concept which I've covered. But let's basically move on with that. So we have, one standard form and one slope-intercept form. So what you would do is you would write your standard form, so 4x plus 2, and instead of writing y, you would write this y, right? Y equals x plus 10. And I'd put in parentheses x plus 10. And we can immediately see that we're going to be solving for x, which is one of our rules. Solve for one variable, which is x or y. We're solving for x in this case. And then you just write it equals 8. And then you would basically just solve it like a normal problem, which we've been seeing. So we distribute this, and it becomes 4x plus 2x plus 20 equals 8. So I add these up, 6x plus 20 equals 8. And then we just solve it like normal, so minus 20, and you should get 6x equals, we'd get minus 12. And then you distribute it. 6 here. I mean to draw a whole line. 6 here, 6 here, and you get x equals minus 2. So this was the hard part. And it was sort of basically just solving equations with one x variable. But if you understood this, or even got a little grasp of it, then you should be pretty good with systems of equations. Don't worry if you did not understand it. Just with seeing more and more examples will just help you, or maybe just watch it again, and you should sooner or later get it. But anyway, we get x equals negative 2. And we basically just plug it in. So I'm going to plug in negative 2 in the slope-intercept form. And it would be, instead of writing x, I'd put negative 2 plus 10, which would give me 8. So I would get y equals 8. Then I have to double check with this equation because both x and y should be equal. No, should be equal for both equations. So I get -2 times 4, right? X here, -2, would be -8 plus 8 times 2, which would be 16. So does -8 plus 16 equal 8? Yes. So these two are right. Take a look for another example. So we have, 9x minus 3y equals 18 and x plus y equals 2. So if you noticed, both of these are in standard form. So we have to take one and convert it into slope. So I'll take this one, and I get y equals negative x plus 2. And then that's what I do again. I literally substitute it in, right? So I put 9x minus 3. I just want to tell y'all that this y, the reason that I substitute here in y is because this is saying y equals. If suppose this had said x equals, then I would have substituted here. But in most cases, you'll probably convert a slope-intercept form, which will equal y equals most of the time, just convert it. So most of the time you are going to substitute it here. But if it ever does say x equals, then you convert it. Okay, but then I'll do -3 times -x plus 2 equals 18. And the reason that I just showed it in different colors is because -x plus 2 is what we're like substituting it. But then after that, you would basically, distribute it, multiply it out. So you get 9x plus 3x, and then minus 6 equals 18. So I'm just going to add up these terms, which leads me to 12x minus 6 equals 18. And then you just solve it like any other equation we would do, with this going plus 6, and you'd get 12x equals 24 divided by out. And you would get x equals 2. And then we substitute it in, right? So write this. So this would be 2 plus blank equals 2. So basically this is already 2. This already equals out. So I would guess that y is 0. And then whatever you think, you can always double check it with the other equation. So I would get 9 times 2, 18. 18 minus 3, which would minus it, equals 18. But it already equals 18, so yeah, it would be 0. So basically the answer for this equation is y equals 0 and x equals 2. So that's basically it for today's video. I hope you understand and enjoyed today's video. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to comment it down below in the comment section, and I'll try my best to reply. Bye, y'all.